Gary Antoine Russell versus Jovanie Santiago. Who do y'all think is gonna win this fight? Before I get more into the video, I just want to say thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe for more boxing and please hit that like button. It helps out the video, it helps out the channel. I'd really appreciate it. So to those who doesn't know, this fight is scheduled for 10 rounds at 140 pounds in the undercard of Bali versus Donaire, which is taking place this coming weekend on the 29th of May, May 29, 2021. Live on Showtime starting at 10 p.m. Eastern Time, 7 p.m. Pacific Time. Fights taking place over at the Dignity Health Sports Park in California. So yeah, I believe this fight between Gary Russell and Santiago will be the opener for the Showtime card. So it will be the first fight that they'll show us on Showtime. And yeah, if you guys, to those who doesn't know who Gary Antoine Russell is, he is the younger brother of Gary Russell Jr. And by the way, there's like three brothers, and all their names are Gary Russell. And Gary Russell Jr. is the first one, I believe. And yeah, Gary Antoine Russell is the second one. I remember watching Russell. I think I watched him at least once or twice in one of the events. Definitely once over at the MGM National Harbor and once in the Barclays Center. So I've seen him fight a couple times in one of those, in two events. At least twice, in my opinion. Because I've seen Gary Russell fight twice, like three times, I think, live in person. But anyway, from what I've seen of Gary Antoine Russell, he is pretty much just like his older brother, except bigger and stronger, I would say. He fights at 140 pounds. He's younger. If you guys didn't know, he's from Maryland. He's 13-0, 13 wins count by way of knockout TKO. Yeah, great state of Maryland, right? If you guys don't know, I live in Maryland, so I'm gonna be biased in this fight. I'm gonna be honest. I got to support my fellow Marylander. Gary Russell, he is someone to keep an eye on. I just hope that he stays busier than his older brother. Gary Russell Jr. only fights once a year, and I hope Gary Antoine Russell fights 2-3 times a year. I hope he doesn't follow the footsteps of his brother. And Gary Russell Jr., in my opinion, has wasted a lot of his prime years by just fighting once a year when he could be fighting twice or three times a year. Well, at least twice a year. That's how most fighters fighting at the top of the sport, they're fighting at least twice a year, not once every single year. But I just hope Antoine doesn't follow his footsteps by following his brother's fight schedule. I mean, he should follow his brother's footsteps in terms of becoming a world champion and becoming a top fighter. But I just hope he doesn't follow his footsteps in terms of fighting once a year. Anyway, his opponent, Jovanie Santiago, 31-year-old fighter from Puerto Rico. He's coming off that loss against Adrian Broner back in February of this year in a fight where he arguably, a lot of people thought he won. A lot of people thought that he was busier, active. His activity should have given him the win, or at least a close fight, but the judges had it quite wide, and he ended up losing that fight by unanimous decision. Now here he is fighting himself against Gary Antoine Russell, and like I said, I'm gonna be biased with this fight, maybe it is the bias that's talking in me. I don't know, but in my opinion, from what I've seen of Gary Antoine Russell, I've been impressed with what I've been seeing of him. I think he can definitely achieve great things in the sport of boxing, similar to his brother. Just a matter of who he fights, when he fights them, and this will be his first major test. And I think he'll go out there and beat Jovanie Santiago in a much better fashion than Adrian Broner did. I think Santiago is a perfect style for Gary Antoine Russell. I think he's a perfect style for him. He'll come forward, he'll throw a lot of punches, and Russell will be there to counter them and throw back and throw a lot of punches as well. With that speed and power alongside with him, I think it will be a little bit too much for Santiago, and I think Santiago gets stopped in the later rounds. Unlike Adrian Broner, who doesn't let his hands go, I think Russell will go out there and definitely make this look easier than Adrian Broner's fight against Santiago. So TKO win for Gary Russell in round 7-8, I would say. But who knows? I could be wrong. I've been wrong many times before. Maybe I'm overestimating Russell and underestimating Santiago. That's also a possibility. But Yeah, I'm pretty confident in Gary Russell. I'm pretty, the Russell family are pretty good boxers and they have good genetics as well. So I think they, I think Russell got this. I'm pretty confident he got this. But we'll see. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts and comments. Again, this fight's taking place on Saturday, May 29, 2021, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Like I said, this fight will be the opener on Showtime, so tune into Showtime on May 29. Let me know your thoughts and comments. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to hit that like button if you haven't yet. Please don't forget to subscribe if you haven't yet. Please, and like always, have a great day. All right, thanks.